bushia kase heat say pa de ofa bia and the free be neck pressing say meow mene so nua mene na meow mene de bushia for ene enema NDC for FM say ani nyina ne omanu akwakoyi wo moka ye beto aba politicians ti omu hugu krum hama no de be katre Ghana for be share bo bebre so oba obe say de ma bebre na obe share Ghana for bo bet say no for media space in so Ghana for bebre I express some disappointment because standard any enema John Dramani Mahama ne NDC for a car ye bo mo share so ba even their flagship program ye de kota honyom 24-hour economy omo first budget that is 2025 budget no yante 24-hour economy no baby which means say budget no so run it through the year. This year there will be no 24-hour economy baby. It was all lies, all be lies. John Dramani Mahama yebeto abano in one of his campaign tours or the Kwako 2 just said the Supreme Court or the judiciary system is very packed. As a lawyers for judges for more Supreme Court and so no there's more doors in this in about they are going to review say omo better number na so because now there was propaganda the was system no just like na adodan kwako for MPP aban package the judiciary system no it is say akwa MPP for nko even the lives of Kevitila money NDC propaganda CB the list about beto ho and a list of Supreme Court judges net date any year ya appointing or one to and for social media and the number be better but no cry a woman the omon kan chere mo ne say sa nkofo a akofado appointing or money nyina na enye se yekoyi obi firi ho and e do be share ho there were judges on the Supreme Court ya appointing or mo doing Jonah de Kumkofo pencil any Jones Evans Fifi Atamos yes papa when the baby chronic pension. Good morning. Na sankofo no nyina atimi akọ retirement abusua say no omo free system that is why akofo do replace you omo nyina that is the right thing to do. Na Sam Gyamfi ekopie mu e wo Joyce news file so abusua ne twetwe nkomo no kase neck press ne ye mia ne me papa ni nyina ne nsem bia ode akọ tudwa ekọ ko bisa ne se papa John Dramani Mahama say oba Supreme Court judges no better so no clean the judiciary system. Then I could sorry as say the judiciary system no see you appoint more judges to the Supreme Court. 7 of them near the Mabeka Dana and then one charity so wa say a bona yon couldn't go here come a course to be necessary. Papa in home I see a children and nay to Yako comment session as an natural.
And let me tell you my surprise that this list of 7 does not include any of the 5 that were recommended by her ladyship, which you were against, that it will increase the number too much. It does not include the 2 that were already vetted. I mean, some of them are.
Yeah, but
let's be frank.
But you must also concede that it includes some justices who were appointed to the Court of Appeal by Akufo-Addo.
That's correct.
Now, but something, the problem with the MPP, you see, is the duplicity and the hypocrisy they continue to display. That is what I find nauseating in all these discussions. You see, a few months ago,
be quick about it.
They applauded President Akufo-Addo for appointing over 18 judges to the Supreme Court. In fact, Justice Enesgao, who in 2012 ran as the MPP parliamentary candidate for Ho Central, ran as the MPP parliamentary candidate again in 2016 for Ho West. He was appointed as a High Court judge in September 2020.
Yeah, that's
September 2020.
I was wrong when I said 2016. Yeah.
September 2020. And in less than 3 years, April 2023, Akufo-Addo appointed him to the Supreme Court. And our friends in the MPP applauded that. They defended that.
You can appoint direct.
Yes, you can.
From outside of those who are in the court. You can. There's nothing wrong.
Yes, but I've given you a certain background to the appointment of these Justice of the Supreme Court. And because of time, I'm just using him as a case study.
Quickly.
Now, these same MPP people are saying that President Mahama has committed haram, sacrilege, for appointing Justice Sam Gyamfi.
Ejapa has not said that.
I'm not saying the Japa. The MPP, I mean, Nafenyomak is all over the place. There is Miracles Abuaji, they are all over the place. They are saying that it is unacceptable for President Mahama to appoint Sam Gyamfi, who from 1984 to 1987 was working as a state attorney in the Aegis department. Worked as a member of the regional tribunal from 1989 to 1996. Worked as a circuit court judge from 1996 to the year 2000. Worked as a high court judge from the year 2000 to the year 2010. 10 years at the high court. And worked as a court of appeal judge from 2010 to 2025, 15 years. Senor Gyamfi does not deserve to be a Supreme Court judge. But let's go, your former parliamentary candidate deserves to sit on the Supreme Court bench. Justice Sir Dennis, who taught me law of interpretation, one of my best ever law lecturers, and you can testify to that. Someone who teaches judges. The second Ghanaian to serve on the African Court on Human and People's Rights. Someone who has served at the Court of Appeal for 15 years. He cannot be Supreme Court judge, but Ndesgau can be Supreme Court judge. What kind of hypocrisy is this? Look, it is true that in times past we complain about Akufo-Addo packing the court. He appointed over 18 justices to the Supreme Court. Mahama has done 7. We have not done 18.
In 4 months.
And to remain, to allow the status quo to remain would be to allow for the perpetuation of injustice against these people who President Akufo-Addo shunned for 8 years because he didn't like them. Because Godfred Dame didn't like them. He says he doesn't know why Sir Dennis was not ever promoted to the Supreme Court under them. Should I tell you? Who doesn't know this? Everybody knows that it was because of the decision he gave in the case of Osafo Manfo while the MPP was in opposition. When Godfred Dame was Osafo Manfo's lawyer. We all know why Gyamfi was shot. Because of the role he played as the commissioner in the Brazil World Cup investigations under the NDC. We all know that you refuse to promote these 5 brains to the Supreme Court and rather chose to promote their juniors by far, by over 20 years to the Supreme Court because of cheap politics. What we are doing is that we are righting the wrongs of the past. We are doing justice to victims of injustice. And you can bend the sea if you don't.
All right. Thank you, Sam Gyamfi.
Mahama will not be remote controlled by you.
Thank you, Sam Gyamfi. Thank you very much. So
it is important to make the point that Ejapa Mensah is right when he says that the GBA is entitled to express its opinions on matters of public interest as they deem fit. But what he fails to acknowledge is that the GBA is not the only institution entitled to express an opinion. And that when they express their opinion, we are also entitled to express an opinion on their opinion. And the opinion all the people you have referred to have expressed, which I share, is that the claim by the GBA that the president has violated Article 296C of the Constitution in suspending the Chief Justice, and their demand for that suspension to be revoked is mischievous, ridiculous, and disgraceful, to say the least.
They can't have an opinion?
I'm saying they can, but I can also have an opinion on the opinion. And my opinion on the opinion is that their opinion is ridiculous and disgraceful. It is not born out of the law, but it is born out of their own determination to always re-echo the false and contrived narratives of the New Patriotic Party. And what they have done is to expose their true colors. Their true colors as an appendage of the New Patriotic Party. A group of people who always lose their voice when the MPP is in office, but quickly gain their voice when the NDC comes into office. Where was the GBA when President Akufo-Addo, in reliance or in accordance with Article 146(10), suspended, in fact, the Article 146 suspended Justice Derry and 3 other justices of the High Court? The same constitutional provision on the basis of which the President, acting in accordance with the advice of the Council of State, has decided to suspend the Chief Justice is the same constitutional provision that President Akufo-Addo relied on in suspending not 1 Justice of the Superior Court of Judicial, but 4. Where was the GBA? Where was the GBA when a court of competent jurisdiction was attacked and a pregnant judge molested in the process by hooligans belonging to the New Patriotic Party? Did they even deem it necessary to issue a statement condemning the said attack on a court of competent jurisdiction and a pregnant female judge? Today, President Mahama is in office, so they have suddenly found their voice. This is what you call odious hypocrisy. And the barrage of criticisms, the condemnation that they have received since they issued that hogwash statement is testament to the fact that the people of Ghana have lost respect for the GBA. Look at how they have been made a laughing stock on social media and on all media platforms. Lawyers and non-lawyers ridiculing them, pointing at their hypocrisy, their duplicity. And I feel embarrassed to be a member of the GBA, and I don't think I will ever pay my GBA dues again, because it is embarrassing to be part of this association. In the case of Getu Tokono, the president wrote to her. She asked for 7 days. President Mahama gave her 10 days. She filed her first response, filed a supplementary response. The Council of State had the benefit of her responses before advising the president that the petitions disclose a prima facie case. 30 out of 31 members of the Council of State. And we are talking about the Council of State, not NDC Functional Executive Committee.
But the NDC people
and the NPP people on the council. That council is made up of some of the most respected people in our society across the political divide. Some apolitical, some retired justices of the Supreme Court. 30 out of 31 said that the petitions disclose a prima facie case. Are we saying that all of them hate Getu Tokono? They are all NDC people suddenly? And you were wrong last week to have suggested that they determined a prima facie case in all the petitions and counts. No, I can read to you at least 4 counts, okay, in respect of which the president and the Council of State said, no, these allegations don't disclose prima facie case.
Oh,
I can show you 4.
So some of the petitions did not survive.
Yes.
Okay.
Because some of the petitions had multiple counts. So you see, when people like
you mean some of the counts didn't stand?
Yes.
No, that's what we are talking about. We are talking about the fact that all 3 petitions succeeded.
There were petitions. Some of the petitions were grounded on just 1 count, 1 allegation.
Okay.
Some of the petitions were grounded on multiple allegations.
There was one that had 21 plus another 4.
And in some of the allegations, the president, 4, I can tell you, 4, the president said there was no prima facie case. So this is not a president who is on any vendetta agenda. The president has shown to be very consistent when you...
Which petition is this didn't get all the grounds
I have refused to publish these things because I think that the president should have released the prima facie decision on those petitions, and it would have silenced some of these people who are just...
Does the CJ have a copy?
Has she requested for a copy and she was not given?
Is she supposed to request?
She's a judge. When she heard in the news that petitions have been brought for her removal, she requested for copies of the petition. So when she was informed by the president that he has, in consultation with the Council of State, determined a prima facie case against her, Why hasn't she written to?
If I go to a court,
and if she writes,
if I go to a court and a judgment is made against
you
me,
go and apply for the judgment.
No, it will be read to me first. Then if I want, I apply.
So why hasn't she applied? Or has she applied and she was not given?
When I did,
I can tell you.
When
look,
I did the
I can
Loretta
read
Lamte
forth
case,
to you. Let me tell
the
you.
CJ gave us
There was an allegation.
a copy of the prima facie determination.
Daniel,
so we knew what made
this is the
prima
petition
facie.
of Daniel Ofori. Count 12 and 13. It deals with the dismissal of one Mohamed Musa, a deputy chief registrar, High Court Tamale, and one Richard Boedi Echampon. The petitioner alleges that the dismissal violates the provisions of Article 151 of the Constitution. Findings: the petitioner has not established a prima facie case regarding these allegations. The documentation provided by the Chief Justice shows that the appointments were terminated on the advice of a committee set up to investigate the complaints against them. Should I give you more? Look, let me give you more. There was an allegation that the Chief Justice had interfered in the execution process of the Kaswa of Anko District Court in the case of Robert Sawai, operating under business in blah, blah, blah. The finding, a prima facie case has not been made in respect of count 16. The petitioner did not state when judgment was given, when the execution process commenced, or even the nature of the execution that the Chief Justice allegedly halted.
Fair enough.
This was a fair exercise of prima facie determination. They didn't just wake up and said, you brought petition, there is a prima facie case. 30 out of 31 members of the Council of State said there is a prima facie case. And the President said, I agree. And they recommended that, Mr. President, get the Chief Justice to step aside. Because you cannot combine your work as the head, the administrative head of the judiciary, with your rights, as a defendant in this matter. How is he going to concentrate on the most important job of justice administration?